Recording. Sound on. That sound's on. Now we have a clap so we can link them. And we're ready to go. It's not my first rodeo. No, I've done this before. Not for a long time though. As you can tell from the last video. But now we're doing another video. So hopefully with each one I will start to improve. We'll both start to improve, I think, our presenting skills.
I think so. I'm not much of a presenter though.
No, but it comes with the territory.
I just like to have a chat, a cosy chat.
I think that's okay. Yeah. What do you think? So first of all, we just want to say thank you for the response that we got from our first video, because I was hoping that some people would watch it, but actually I think currently it's close to 1,000 views on Facebook, which is incredible. And there's a lot of comments as well, and really, really nice comments.
Wholesome stuff.
So we are incredibly grateful to have an audience such as you. And we hope that you will continue to watch and continue to enjoy watching as much as we are enjoying sharing and making.
Especially my grandma. She loved it.
Good. That's the most important thing.
She's the audience.
I don't care about anyone else. Just you, Sylvia. Just you. So we were thinking about what we could talk about today, and there were a bunch of things we thought we could talk about. The flat, but it's a state.
Oh god, it's not worth looking at.
So we're not going to do that. I actually was in the process of making a Spider-Man themed video. But I thought that I would like to save that for a later date, so that we could talk about some other things before getting into Spider-Man, like an all Spider-Man all the time. All day, all time. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man channel.
Just as that's the new plan. Spider-Man channel, 100%.
Forget Chloe.
Goodbye. So then we settled on something that relates to both of us in different ways.
Oh yeah.
And we can talk about it in different ways and kind of share and relate and compare.
That's our relationship with books.
Our relationship with books.
I've always had a love affair of books, ever since I was a little girl and I was being read to constantly, you know, picture books and all that good stuff. Then, as I got a bit older, I think I was about 9, 10, my grandma and I would read together in the evenings. Well, I'd go into my grandma's room and she would read me a different classic, a children's classic. So, Anne of Green Gables we read together, we read The Railway Children, and it would just be like a chapter a night before bed. And my grandma would read, and then we'd talk about what had happened in each of the chapters, and it was just a really lovely way to bond and connect over a common interest.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was cute.
Interestingly, I've never read any of those books, because that brings me to my relationship with books, that I'm not a huge reader of books, and that's not out of choice necessarily, though I suppose deep down it is. I would like to read more, but I just can't seem to keep my attention on it for long enough. I can't keep interest, and I don't know whether that's because I haven't found the right book, or if it's just because I'm so used to divulging my kind of media through visual means. Maybe a book is too boring for me.
I think it'd be lovely to be able to sit up like an old married couple reading our books at night together, because that's what I do.
Yeah, but then I suppose that really goes to my next point, which is what we end up doing when we're in bed is you're reading a book and I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
Because my relationship goes in the terms of not the reading but the writing. I have always loved writing books. When I was a kid, I would just sit at my family computer until the late hours of the evening.
You had a family computer?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was about 8 or 9, I think.
I had the family stack of paper, a biro.
Wow. And I would write stories. They would always be about me.
Of course.
And I'd always be a superhero.
Your brother!
And yeah, and my brother Carl was always in my stories. He was the evil Dr. Carl.
Subtle.
Yeah. I loved making stories, and my imagination could run wild, and I could create worlds and people who would always be real inside my head. And that's the kind of enthusiasm I try to put over to the children in my class when we're making stories, because it's an incredible idea that you can create something in your mind. Like, your brain is so powerful that you can create a person who has a personality and looks and traits and things that make them them, and they're essentially alive other than the fact that they're not real.
That's exactly why I love to read, because people bring the world to life
Exactly.
for me. And
so for me, I love that so much that I like to make stories, and I didn't do it for a long time. There was a time in my life where I stopped writing, and for a very long time, probably about maybe even 15 years, I just forgot that I loved to write, and I just didn't do it. And it's only in the past couple of years that I started up again and realised that I have a passion for it. In the last video I spoke about the book I'm working on now, which is The Door at the Edge of the Universe. And as Chloe was saying how she would be read to at night as a child, a lot of the time I read to her now because I'm adding to my story and I'm reading and I like to share and I like some feedback.
I should add that I do actually enjoy Darren's writing. It's not just a Darren's writing, his magnum opus, and he reads it out, orates it to me of an evening from behind a sort of podium. I do ask him, I will say, Darren, please tell me a story. And you actually, when we first started going out and I was really poorly,
oh yeah,
you made me a kid's story, didn't you?
I made Chloe the koala.
He brought Chloe the koala into existence.
I could link that below. I'll link it below, Chloe the koala, so if people want to read, then they can have a read of Chloe the koala.
It was the sweetest thing. My reading material these days is completely varied. I like a lot of modernist fiction, so sort of from like the 20th century. I'm reading Why Sargasso Sea. Sargasso? Oh, I'm definitely saying that wrong. It's essentially the prequel to Jane Eyre, and it's about Antoinette's Bertha in the Attic, and that's amazing bit of post-colonial fiction right there. So I'll read those sorts of books. I love the straight classics. I have a lot of classics at Mum's house that I need to bring here. But I try to I read a lot of fluff as well. I love Sophie Kinsella, Confessions of a Shopaholic, all that good stuff that makes you feel happy and it's just easy to read. But I try to keep those sorts of books on my Kindle.
Right.
Otherwise, we'd have no space. It would be a book infestation, and I can see your little head exploding at that very thought. So, with books, the books I tend to keep are those old editions.
Yeah.
You know, the special books, like my Vanity Fair that my mum got me, and birthday books, sort of the ones you want to write home about.
Anything that would be found in here.
Anything that would be found, that was the best Christmas present you got
Dr.
me.
Hot. Heartthrobs from Heathcliff to Darcy.
It's a really good book.
This is a Dr. Dot colouring book with all the hunks
That Chloe formed over.
from the classics. That was something I got Chloe for Christmas, and might I say it was an excellent idea.
You better be careful. Also, on my blog, I've recently been writing about the teen fiction that meant the most to me when I was sort of like 12 upwards, because I used to read an awful lot of teen fiction. It was like a ritual going into the independent bookstore, seeing the new releases, choosing one, coming home and spending that afternoon just absorbed, completely absorbed. My mum would attest to that as well. She used to buy me a lot of these books too. So I've worked on a little blog post that I'll probably link below actually eventually once it's published. I need to finish it up a bit. But I've been talking about 4 of my favourite books when I was sort of that age and how they affected me growing up, and I often think that the best kind of writing, it comes in teen fiction because it tackles so many different issues
Right.
in a way that's really subtle. You know, like eating disorders,
yeah.
anger management, all kinds of things that might otherwise go over your head at that age, but it shapes how you are as an individual, and it's important.
So, thanks for watching.
Absolutely.
Thanks for indulging us and listening and being a part of our conversations together with you and with each other. If you've got any questions about what we've spoken about today, if you want to know more about The Door at the Edge of the Universe, if you want to know more about Chloe's blog, feel free to leave a comment.
We had a question from Bethany.
Did we?
She wanted to know what our favourite movie was to watch together.
Ooh.
Or what our favourite snack was while we were watching the movie.
Ooh.
Like what we eat a lot of sweet popcorn.
Just salt.
We eat a lot of salt. We just eat cubes of
Just
salt.
straight out the tube.
No, we eat a lot of sweet popcorn.
We do have, that's probably my favourite snack to eat while watching a film.
Salvice.
Sweet popcorn.
As for film, the last film we watched was The Man from U.N.C.L.E. last
That's
night.
such a good film.
And you sold it so badly. You were
Yeah.
like, it's the guy from...
So it's
the
Henry
guy-
Cavill.
It's Henry Cavill, but he's a spy. And I was like...
Sounds good.
Jesus, Henry Cavill, Superman.
But it's so good.
It was amazing. He didn't say it was like Mad Men era and sort of
I forgot.
historical. It's like Breakfast at Tiffany's, essentially. And I was all over that.
So that's our film recommendation. Go and watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Thank you, Beth.
And if you've got any questions for us about anything we've spoken about, if you want to know more about Chloe's blog, if you want to know more about the man from
The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Yeah.
then go and ask Guy Ritchie, because I'm sure he would love for you to ask him about that. But if you want to know more about The Door at the Edge of the Universe, you can ask me.
Thank you so much for being so lovely. We really enjoy sitting down together of an afternoon on a Sunday, popping the camera on and just having a bit of a candid chat with you. And thank you so much for engaging with that, I guess.
Yeah, and we hope that you enjoy these as much as we enjoy making them. And if you want to give us a like or a comment, it wouldn't go amiss. Or a share, actually, I have
Shares
to say.
are good.
Sharing's caring. And that's the most important thing.
And what's the one ship that can never, ever, ever sink?
A friendship.
Mm.